Remember, this is Mesha. Mesha is below the horizon. It's rising, but it's still below the horizon. Mina is already above the horizon. So from Mina to Tula is above the horizon. From Mesha through Kanya is below the horizon. Remember, this turns counterclockwise from the point of view of the observer on the planet Earth. So let's go back again and look at the chart. If we could turn this whole thing so that the east was over here, we'd have the identical picture that we saw in the previous chart. However, when we do a chart, Meena Rashi is always in the upper left-hand corner. Always, always, always. That's why it doesn't require a label. So let's go over this again, because this is very important to visualizing the chart. When you see somebody's chart, whatever sign is the lagna, or the rising, is the lagna rashi, or the rising sign. That means that sign is in the east. Okay? And that is also the first house, or Tanubhava. Lagna is always Tanubhava. Yeah, the first house.
Tanubhava means first?
First house means the body. Tanu means the body. Yeah. The condition of the first house will tell you everything about a person's body, their health, and so on. For the real self, always look at the first house. You want to know what condition a person is in? Check their first house. Wherever the lagna is located, that will tell you. Lagna means rising. So the constellation, or Rashi, or Nakṣatra, that is just coming over the horizon at the time of birth is called Lagna. Lagna. And it's usually LA. LA for Lagna in a chart. So then, each Rashi, clockwise from Lagna, is identical with the first, second, third, fourth, etc. bhava, or house. So we see that the constellation Mesha, which is rising at the time of birth, is the first house. Vrishabha is the second house. In Vedic astrology, the signs and the houses are identical. It's much simpler than Western astrology. Signs of whatever constellation or whatever Rashi is rising, that's the first house. The whole Rashi is the first house. This is the birth chart. This is the Kundali chakra. We use the Kundali chakra. Yeah, Kundali means the birth chart. Kundali means life energy. See, the prana with which a person is born is the Kundalini. See? The natural energy that they have, which lies coiled at the base of the spine. So the Kundali chakra is the birth chart. The chakra. Yeah, the conditions at birth. That means the karma, the energy, the inclinations, the influences that accompany the person into this world at the time of birth. So I'm not going to do a detailed description of the houses because we're going to study that later. But let's look again at remember, we're focusing on astronomy in this section. So let's look at another. This is a beautiful diagram, huh? Yeah, somebody on the internet made this. So here we have the Earth's North Pole, and the North Pole of the ecliptic. And they're separated by 23.5 degrees. Okay, 23.5 degrees. So then now, here we have the horizon. This is a good visualization for that question you were asking earlier Urava.
Okay.
This is the horizon. This is the celestial equator. And this is the ecliptic. The stars move along or parallel to the celestial equator. The planets and the sun appear to move along the ecliptic. And the whole thing becomes visible and invisible along the horizon. Okay? So for a person standing at a particular place on the earth, this looks like about 30 degrees of north latitude. Here is the zenith, straight overhead. You see? And whoops. And here's the horizon. The stars are turning along the celestial equator. And the planets and signs are located along the ecliptic. You see each sign marked on the disk of the ecliptic here. This is very nicely done illustration showing the difference between the horizon, the celestial equator, and the ecliptic. So let's go back to this other diagram that we used before. So we see the different constellations located along the ecliptic. And the planets are moving from one to the other. However, the ecliptic moves every day along with the fixed stars. It's just not exactly in line with the path of that motion, because the path of that motion is the celestial equator. Now, I hope everybody has got this visual concept of how these things are related to one another, because this is embedded in the chart, as I showed you. And it's really central to understanding how the planets move. And if we start getting into transits and stuff like that, how the different planets are creating relationships with the other planets and their aspects and so on. This is fundamental. I wanted to spend this first session getting these fundamentals totally clear in your mind so that you can go on and be an expert astrologer. Florian?
Do the Raśis and Nakṣatras extend outside of our solar system?
No, the stars that they are based on do. But the Raśis and Nakṣatras, remember, they're just maps. They're just designations. It's like if I say, the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. The map is different from the territory. The symbol is different from the thing that it represents. These Nakṣatras and Raśis, these are just convenient labels for different parts of the sky that are suggestive of the astrological influences of those times. When the planets and stars move through those Raśis and Nakṣatras, they have certain particular influences depending on the time. It doesn't have anything to do with the stars. It's not that the stars have a particular power that's kind of channeled through the signs or something. No. That is a direction or a particular period of time. Like when the sun moves to the north in the summertime, it gets hot. Are we going to say that's because of the sign that it's in? No. The sign is just a way of marking its position. Like saying 30 degrees, 60 degrees. It's not that 30 degrees and 60 degrees have certain powers. That's objectification. Read my post from yesterday on Naimisharanya about objectification and elementalism. We don't want to make things into objects that are simply designations. That's why people criticize astrology, because so many naive astrologers will say, well, the stars tell you this, or the stars make you do that. The stars don't do anything. They just, they're just hanging out there in the sky. It's why blame it on the stars? We're ultimately responsible for our actions and our decisions, and we're responsible for our condition and our state of consciousness by the decisions that we make and by the actions that we perform with our wills. So we have to take responsibility for that. Okay, we have one more major section to cover, and that's on sidereal time and the precession of the equinoxes. This is going to be a doozy, I know it, I just know it. The Earth rotates once around its axis every 24 hours. And this is called a mean solar day. It doesn't mean that the sun is in a bad mood or something like that. It just means that the sun appears to go around the Earth exactly